drinking from a fire hose is going to be really easy for you guys if, whatever I could do to support you.
Yeah, Randy, if you go ahead and bullet point, I have some questions, but they may not be what you have on the agenda. I think you have more experience. I know you have more experience about this than me, but my concern or objective here today, Randy, I know it doesn't matter if it's a brand new agent that thought getting in real estate's a really good idea. They're going to find out that it's really not the easiest market time to start a real estate business. Those of us that have been around for a while, we know things aren't like they were a year ago. So it's a time for a different strategy. And if you're brand new, come out of the chute with the right strategy. So whatever you can share along those lines, Randy, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. So when I look at this real estate market, and again, it's the same for everybody. It doesn't matter if you've been in the business 20 years, the real estate market is now. And if you're new to the business, you've been in 6 months, the real estate market's now. I think there's an advantage to coming in now and being in this market versus the agent that came in the last 2, 3, 4 years, because it was super easy. Mm-hmm. The real estate market at 3%. I mean, we were crying when they're at 4%, right? So the agent that was in the 2.5%, 3.5% range of the market that happened for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years really didn't understand how easy they had it. You can literally drop your real estate sign out of the back of your pickup going around a corner too fast. Somebody's going to pick it up and they're going to want to list their house with you or buy a house with you. The market was hot. And so if you came from that market and now you're in this market, it's going to feel like the world's changed, and it has. Selling houses at 7.25% interest rate to buyer is a difficult one. Having a seller that's in a 2.5%, 3.5% interest rate fixed on their house, selling that and buying a new house at 7 or 7.25% is a challenge. Finding a replacement property is a challenge. So there's a lot of challenges, but the reality is if you're even remotely a savage in this market, and I'm going to talk about what a savage looks like, then you're going to dominate because, excuse my language, but there's just a lot of candy asses in this real estate space right now. Got 1.6 million agents. We're losing about 100,000 year to date, roughly. I don't know the exact numbers. Last time I saw it was around 68,000 a couple months ago. That's happening because this is not the market for the faint of heart. And I know everybody says, well, we need to lose some agents in this market. It's cyclical, goes up and down. In the last downturn that I remember, the big one, which was 08, 09 to 10, we went from 1.52 million to 1 million. So we lost 500,000 agents to that market. And we lost 500,000 agents that didn't have the schools, tactics, mindset, beliefs, practices, whatever it is to help them through that. And so my goal of getting on this call is to reach those. There's going to be an agent that's already crushing, it's already doing well, that they're going to tweak something, they're going to hear something that's going to enhance their trajectory of their business, going from 20 deals to 40 or 40 to 100 or 5 to 15. So for me, it's really, really basic. And I always coach into the fundamentals of real estate. Being a military guy, fundamentals are everything, right? The first thing they do in the military when you get there is teach you how to do what? Anybody know? Make your bed. Exactly. I saw somebody say it. Make your bed. That's the first thing. I'm 20 years old at the time. I'm wet behind the ears, 20 years old. I'm like, I don't need to be taught how to make my bed. This is stupid on day one. Only later through wisdom and experience do you realize the importance of that one thing, because then you could build on that. How to pack your sack, your travel bag correctly, how to brush your teeth in the morning. If you don't brush your teeth, there's 88 guys that are going to make sure you brush your teeth because everybody gets penalized if you don't, and you have funky breath. But the reality is, this is what happens in the military. So I take that belief system and I break it into real estate in a kind of a ground rules, fundamental, foundational thing. General contractor, 30 years. So when I speak of houses, to me, the most important thing's the foundation, and many parts of it are underground. You don't even see it. You get done, you got a little stem wall sticking above the ground, 6 inches, but all the good stuff's down below ground, the rebar, the structure, the concrete. Then we cover it up with dirt. Nobody ever sees it again. But without it, your house is built on sand. Real estate's the same exact way. And so what are the fundamentals of real estate? The fundamentals are one thing. Daily prospecting is the number one thing that's fundamental in your real estate business. It's way over attractive marketing and social media. And again, these agents over the last 3, 4, 5 years, many millennials moving in the business and so on, I'm not picking on a demographic. I'm picking on a weak agent that thought that marketing was the forward-facing thing that mattered. And it did in that market. It doesn't now. There's still an advantage. But if you're not purposefully prospecting every single day, then your business is dying. I promise you, I could show it to you. There's not a business out there that's growing without some form of this daily activity, unless you're just the incredibly fortunate one that deals in nothing but referrals and you have a massive sphere of influence, a massive influence circle. And I've seen those agents do very, very well in it. I could tell you story after story. I took a brand new agent 2 years ago now. She came into the business brand new, a lot of influence. Not going to say who, not even going to say what her husband does, but everybody, she had a lot of influence. And she did very, very well. She went from 0 to 25 deals, 24 deals in her first year. And it's like, this is easy, man. There's nothing to this. But guess what? It came to a grinding halt when she maximized that influence and that circle of influence that she had to go for them. There's still some referrals coming, but it may not be for a year or 2 or 3. They're not reselling. They're not telling their friends and so on. So all of a sudden, she went from, this is the easiest thing I've ever done. I wish I would have done this a long time ago, to I'm stuck. How do we do the next steps? And so the first thing I did is go, let's talk about fundamentals. And there was these 1, 2, 3 key fundamental components missing in her business, which she didn't need the first year, right? It happens. And if you don't have that influence, it may be really difficult because you look at this and you say, wow, I don't even know where to start. So fundamentally, foundationally, let's start with this. 1 hour a day of prospecting is like bare survival. And I think of it like this. You're walking across the desert. You got one little thing of water and you're sipping it just absolutely when you need to, right? You're just like, I'm going to walk a mile and then I'm living, right? I'm surviving. And this has got to last me. That's what 1 hour a day of prospecting is. And a lot of agents even look at that as like, man, I don't have the time in my calendar to do that, but it doesn't matter. And I'm going to give you some other numbers that maybe even make you wince a little bit, but think about this. As all these years of coaching I've done, George has been in my coaching circles. He knows how I coach, my style. In all of my coaching over all of my years, when I do my assessment calls with people, and I coach people that do 1,000 transactions a year, and I don't coach anybody new in the business anymore. I did for years, but now they have to have a business, which is 12 deals a year or more to be in my coaching program. But without exception, when I get a new client, and I go, and I'm just naming names on the screen. I go, Maria, nice to meet you. We're doing a needs assessment. How's your business? It's great. I'm doing good. I'm doing 12 deals a year. I go, awesome. Open your calendar. Show me your calendar. And they open it up and there's 0 prospecting on their calendar. And I go, so how much daily prospecting are you doing? I don't have the time for that, man. I've got all these people. I've got all these clients. Oh my God. I mean, I need your help. I'm just a hot mess because it's busy and they're doing 12 deals a year. This is not about them in a bad way about doing 12 deals a year. They're doing what they do within what they know how to do it. And then I get on the call with a 300, a 500, 1,000 transaction a year agent. And I go, show me your calendar. And they pull it up and they got 3 hours of time block per day at 1,000 transactions a year of prospecting, calling back leads, calling sellers and buyers, servicing sellers and buyers. These are all dollar producing, outward bound prospecting activities. And then when I talk about prospecting, they're like, I need more time to prospect. And I'm like, you're doing 1,000 deals a year. Yeah, we're not going to get to 1,200 unless I step up my game. You see what's happening here in this conversation? So 1 hour a day is absolutely survival. If you're at 12, you'll keep 12. If you're at 24, you'll keep 24. If you're 50, you'll keep 50 if you do 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. Mathematically, I can show you that 80-20 rule, 80% this will be absolutely true for. You have some anomalies. 2, you're going to be in growth. You could actually look at your business as growing 10, 15, 20, 25, even 40 or 50% per year by installing 2 hours a day, 5 days a week of actively prospecting, calling new leads that came in, calling old leads that are in the system, calling your past sales, calling your database, actively prospecting. And it doesn't have to be, a lot of people, when I say prospecting, they think expireds immediately. I don't like expireds. I didn't say call expireds. I said prospect, right? So they think of calling expireds and door knocking and going to FSBOs as prospecting, but it's not. It's about having a live conversation with people. Hey, George, Randy Byrd, we sold you that house a year ago, man. You know, I follow up with you every month. I don't always talk business, but today I am. Are you thinking about buying, selling, investing, or renting or investing in the next 6 months where I can help you? No? Awesome. Do you know anybody who's looking to buy, sell, rent, invest, lease, rent, anything I can help you with in the real estate space? Okay, awesome. George, I'll follow up with you next month. I'm just doing my job, staying in touch with you and making sure I'm treating my business like a business. Do you have anything before we go? Right? That's just a real simple script to have. So 2 hours a day is growth. 3 hours a day is domination. You can call it a lot of different things. I like calling it domination because you will dominate your market. You'll dominate other agents in your area because there's only a couple people in your whole MLS doing it. And I've watched this from one step to where it is today. I've got agents, I could think of probably half a dozen right now that still to this day are doing 770 deals a year, like Josh Barker in Redding, California. And he's individual private now, but like indie broker. He has a large team and he still does the prospecting every single day. And in the Mike Ferry coaching circles and the Tom Ferry coaching circles, this is what most of the coaches lean on, is focusing on this. And listen, it's not easy as a coach to take a brand new client that's doing 700 deals a year and go, let's talk about your daily prospecting. That sounds like, you know, I'm asking them who designed your business card? It sounds like the silliest thing because it's so foundationally basic, but man, it's what's really missing. All right. So when we get into that component, we keep when we get some traction and some discipline in our business where that's going on, and you notice how much time I spent on this, that's the importance level of it. Then you could start really honing in on how to add people to your database, because that's the next step to this. Make sure you're managing your database correctly, whether it's got 50, 100, or 350 in it, it doesn't matter. Mine's got 19,000 in it. And it's just everybody I've ever connected with is in my database. So that's not 19,000 buyers and sellers, that's 19,000 people. So they're categorized so you can have this. But if you treat your database as it's either growing or dying, right? That's just the way to live in real estate. And so by doing simple, like, again, very basic, just focus on adding 1 or 2 people a day to your database. That's 5 a week. That's 20 a month. That's 240 a year, 250 a year. That's a growing database by adding 1 person a day. If you're hungry, gritty, snarly, ready just to crush this market, focus on adding 5 people a day to your database. It's not easy. It might be easy for a day or two, but it's not easy for long term, right? So what we're looking at is when we start adding 5 people to our database a day, that's 25 a week, that's 100 a month, that's 1,200 a year. You're talking about having a 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 person database that's purposefully placed in there: buyer, seller, renter, investor, friend, vendor, contractor, home inspector, whatever it is, being very purposeful about that. And then we're not even talking about the opportunities within social media yet, right? We're just talking about how do we make connections. Now, those connections on social could actually add to that very easily. George, I had a call with a gal lately that said, I don't have anybody else to call. I don't have anybody to call. I go, what are you talking about? She goes, I have nobody to call. My database is like, I've maxed it out. And I go, how many's in your database? She's like, it's got like 170 people in it. She was super proud of this. And I'm not kicking her at all. But in her mind, she had 170 of her friends that she put in there, and she just doesn't have anybody else to call. They all said they're good, and she's hungry, she's gritty. And I'm like, all right, open your Facebook for me. She opens her Facebook. Guess how many Facebook friends she has? Thousands, 3,700 Facebook friends. I'm like, okay, your database is 3,700. She goes, oh, no, I don't know those people. I mean, they're friends, and I see their cat videos and stuff, right? I'm making a joke about that, but I go, you need to focus on connecting with 5 of those a day. So one of the tools that I teach in my coaching program is 555. It's actually considered 555-1. Anybody that's good at typing, maybe put this in the chat as we're going so people can see it. But 5551, and I'm going to give you the metrics for this. 5 likes a day. So you scroll through your Facebook friends, that's who's popping up on your feed, and just like 5 different things a day, not 5 on the same person, right? So you're reaching 5 different people and you're just liking something they posted. We just took a trip into the Ozarks, or we just had a baby, or we just got married, or I just got engaged, or whatever it is. And you reach out and like 5 of those things a day. The second step of this is you 5 comments a day on those likes, right? So if Lori posted, we just got home from vacation in Italy, it was amazing. I like it or love it or smile at it, whatever it is, an emotion, right? That's shooting dopamine to them when they see they've got 80 likes, 100 likes. That's why people put what they do on Facebook, right? It's giving them feelings of dopamine and appreciation. You'll have 100 likes, you'll have 10 comments in that thread. And most of them's like, I love Italy. I was born in Italy. I want you to be more personable with that. I want you to love on them. Oh my gosh, Italy looks amazing. Your pictures were great. Who did your pictures? Or how long were you there? Something that's interactive that ends kind of in a question mark, because that will create them to respond to it. And then other people see this interaction. By the way, it starts hitting everybody else's algorithms, right? So now you've liked Lori's post, you've commented on Lori's post, hopefully in some kind of interactional type question. Lori, how long were you guys there? Or Lori, would you recommend a great place to stay? If you want, DM me, right? And then the next 5 of this is I'm still in Lori. So I liked her, I commented on her. Now I'm going to her DM. And now I'm doing something a little deeper, right? Lori, I didn't want to say this publicly, but wow, that place you stayed at was amazing. Do you mind if I ask how much a night was it? Or, hey, do you mind if I ask you what airline did you take to Italy? Because we're thinking of going there and that's a big concern of mine. Or where did you stay? Did it feel safe? Anything, 1,000 things. But you're requiring a reaction from them. So now they see your message, you're talking about this post, they're going to go back and they're looking at this 100 likes. They find yours, they find your comment, they're likely going to comment on that, which makes it hit everybody else's Facebook. This strategy is so powerful. I've had agents take their business from just 0 things going on to just massive activity, 4 or 5 active transactions, a couple of listings, all in a short period of time. It could be done literally 90 or 100 days, right? And so think about the power of this. So now every one of those 5 became what? They're added to your database correctly. Have you had a buyer conversation with them? No, not yet. So you don't know. Have you had a seller conversation with them? No, not yet. You're just building equity right now. So they're in your database. They're really, you don't know who they are and what they're doing in there yet. But now you're working that database correctly. Hey, Lori, great talking to you here on Facebook DM. I'm a real estate agent, but right now I just like to see if we can stay friends. You know, we're friends on Facebook, so there's an automatic assumption that we're friends to me. And when people give me that little standoffishness when I'm DMing them and I'm saying, hey, I'm a real estate agent, you mind if I stay in touch? They're like, you know, I don't know you. I'm like, we've been friends on Facebook. What does that mean to you? It means something different to me. It means we're friends. I lean on that friendship. I go, Lori, I thought we've been friends here for 3 years. I'm sorry, I assumed we were actually friends. If we're not friends, cool. But she goes, I've had people say stuff like this. I'm in Denver. What do I need to talk real estate with you for? Oh, my partner's in Denver. Matter of fact, I have a big team in Denver. All I have to do is look online and find out who a relationship is in Denver that I can lean on for referral if needed, right? So I call them out. Hey, we're friends. I thought we were friends here. If we're not, what are we doing here? I say those words. It depends on how that conversation goes. But now imagine I'm adding 5 people to my database, and now I'm curious, where are we going to take this with Lori over time? And then I wait maybe a little bit. Hey, Lori, my number, I always lead with my cell. Hey, Lori, my cell is 541-570-5777. What's the best number to reach you for a quick 5-minute friend call? You know, and by the way, I'm not trying to date you. Sometimes male and female, you have to lead with that on social media. It's not a dating website, folks. I'm talking about a database. Okay. Unless you want to do that, go ahead. I'm cool. But I might say those things. Hey, Lori, this is not a dating website. I'm just telling you, I'd love to connect business-wise, see what I can do to support you and be friends here. And then that may take a few weeks or even a month to get to that language conversation in Facebook. But you can see every message you've ever had with that person. I could show you where 3.5 years, I've said, hey, happy birthday, Lori. Hey, great cat video, Lori. Hey, whatever. And they've never responded for 3.5 years. And then all of a sudden, one day they come out of the blossom and they just go, hey, you know, I'm really sorry I've never responded. I want to be a better friend also. I'm like, cool. So we start from that point forward, but they're still in my database, right? I'm just waiting. And this activity's happening, right? This is really, really powerful. So 5 likes, 5 comments, 5 DMs. And then the one, and I'll get your question, the one is one Facebook Live a week. This may make you feel a little queasy, but one Facebook Live a week is the secret sauce because it changes the algorithm of Facebook. Is live gets priority. So when you do a live, the people that you've interacted with recently, it shows up that you just went live. So then they see you going, hey, it's Randy Byrd. I'm sitting here in beautiful Corvallis, Oregon, doing a market report. The real estate market's hot. We only have so many listings on the market. We only have this. Interest rates are 7.25%. If you need anything, holler. Thanks. That goes to 3,700 people on Facebook potentially, right? So you're talking about your professional capacity and ability. And then they're starting to see this tied together with you liking their cat video and the Italy trip and all these other things. It's very powerful. Maria, you had your hand up. Do you have a question?
So when you start communicating with them on Facebook, you go ahead and add them to your database?
Absolutely. Everybody is in my database, right? I even have people I never want to talk to again in my database. It just, I have A, B, C, D. A is clients that I'm actively working with or said they'll work with me. Mm-hmm. B are people that I believe will work with me. C's are people I don't know at all. And D's are delete, right? I want them in there. I want to know who they are. You could use a couple other words for them, but the bottom line is it's a delete. I don't want to do business with them, but I want to at least know who they are because they might sneak in the weeds for a couple of years and come back and get in a transaction with me and I knew better.
So how do you label them in your database? Are they?
So, like I just said, ABCD is how I use it. And then within
but I thought you did buyer, seller, vendor.
Yeah. So
KV Core requires you to list them a certain way.
Yeah. So you could put them, there's an other as well. You could put them as a buyer or seller in your example, put them as a buyer and seller. It has both of those options. But the bottom line is until I have a conversation with them, I really don't know what their needs are, right? Because I want to eventually put an automation that's kind of going towards their buyer or seller needs, and they could be both. As agents, they're all buyers and sellers to me, right? It's just timing of when they need that. But specifically automations and targeting campaigns, I want to know if they're a buyer or sellers, different languages. Matter of fact, even right now in this market, what I tell the sellers is going on in the market is completely different than I'm telling the buyers of what's going on in the market because they're really different. Okay. Darren, yes, sir.
Yeah, I just have just a little bit of clarification on that. So you go out, you talk to 5 people on Facebook, and then when you say database, you mean like your CRM, correct?
I'm talking KV Core, Chime, anything. It could be Boomtown. It could be anything. My database where all my people are that I want to communicate with. And by the way, I'm talking about a strategy with Facebook. It works the same with LinkedIn, with Instagram. And by the way, getting out on your Chevrolets and walking the neighborhoods and talking to business owners and talking to restaurant owners. It's adding 5 people a day to your database, regardless of where they come from.
So when you're out talking to these 5 people on Facebook, you don't have their phone number, their email. How do you enter them into your CRM? Or at what point do you enter them in?
So you'd be surprised what KV Core specifically and some of the other CRMs will find on people. You may not know this, but if you enter their first and last name and you have either their phone number or their email, which is pretty easy to find, Facebook has their contact information usually. Some people exclude that. If you can't find it there, you can Google them on Google, LinkedIn, Instagram, all those other places and start compiling some of this information. And if you just don't have anything, then they're probably not a good valid contact in your database. Right? If you can't, but in KV Core specifically, if you go on the right side and you click, there's a place where you could look them up on Spokio, you could look them up on People, you could look them up on Facebook, LinkedIn, all these things with a click of a button. And KV Core in the top left, if you validate the contact, it will try and search for all that stuff. Once it finds like one email that you can verify is good, then the world opens up and you could find them in a lot of different places. So getting people's contact information actually is way simpler than it should be.
So each day, those 5 people, every day you're taking those 5 people, even if you only have a name, you're putting them in your CRM.
Yep.
And then you're working on trying to get their contact and all that stuff.
Yep. You're working to try and service them, right? This is a service business. So say for instance, you're in my database. I can't find anything about you, but I'm watching you on Facebook. All of a sudden somebody goes, hey, Darren, you and I have worked at IBM in Rohnert Park for 20 years together. I go, oh, now I know where he works. Darren, Isaac, in Rohnert Park, IBM, I'll find you. And then I can find your professional pages. I could find your LinkedIn. I could do all this stuff and I will find you if I want to find you.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Okay. So it's just about being purposeful about adding those things. It's just as easy to walk into your local restaurant and say, I'm Randy Byrd, local real estate broker. I'm looking at adding people to my sphere of influence of what I can do to help support and, give you real estate value. Can I get your business card? Here's mine. Let me stay in touch. Maybe we can interview you and put you in my newsletter. What can I do to help you build your business here locally? You won't get a no from that. Matter of fact, if they don't have business cards, they'll write their name down on their menu and hand it to you. They want to do that, and they want you to come in and do that for and with them. Good question, though. I can go on all day, honestly, but if I have any questions that I can answer, any kind of support, I know a lot of people are on the live side of this watching it. I'll give a little bit of my contact information. We have a lot of stuff we do for free. I own Birdhouse Coaching. We do several things during the week for free coaching. You can come to my coaching calls that are on Monday at 12 o'clock at randybyrd.live, and it's RANDYBYRD.live. We do that for 30 minutes every single week. It's real estate related. It's production related. It's broker agnostic. It's for everybody. And it doesn't matter if you come in with a contract question, if I can answer it, I will, or marketing strategy, or how to handle an objection you're getting. There's a lot of objections to interest rates right now. And for the last year or so, a lot of people have been teaching to say, well, just date the rate and marry the house, right? And that's kind of getting a little stale. So really, having a conversation with buyers and sellers, or buyers specifically, about what's the necessity of the buy, what are you renting now, and doing the mathematics to make this look what this looks like for 1 to 2 years, because we know these rates are not going to continue forever. And I think on the outside, we're looking at 24 months. And somewhere around the election cycle, these things are going to change quickly, probably prior to the election cycle, in my opinion. It's not Democrat, not Republican. It's just that the current office is going to want the rates to be better prior to the elections. So I think they're going to soften those and make it look like the economy's in check now. And I think that's what's going to happen. The other side's going to be doing the opposite. And if it does change house in the next election cycle, they're going to happen overnight. And that means there's going to be just a feeding frenzy of people trying to take advantage of 6 and 5 and maybe even 4% rates again. And so, we've got to be prepared for that. And this database is going to help you be prepared for that. So if you take the next 2 years communicating with people going, hey, rates are high, but I'm staying in touch with you, because when this thing happens, it's going to happen fast. And when it happens, you're not going to be able to handle it by yourself. I promise you. It's just how it is. But Darren, question again.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on using programs like RedX and doing circle prospecting?
It depends what your business plan is. I love it. Right. So RedX, circle prospecting, you're either calling cold databases, trying to add them to your database. That's what it is, right? You're picking a neighborhood geographically or otherwise, or you're calling expireds, which is a target audience, or you're calling, they have FSBOs, they have different things, but this is all cold in nature. It's a lot funner to follow in your warm database. So if you're out of your warm database, you've already expanded, you've got all your Facebook in there correctly, I doubt it. All the Instagram in there correctly, I doubt it. LinkedIn, I have I think it's somewhere close to 20,000 connections on LinkedIn. There's no way that I've managed those correctly to a CRM database with a message that says, hey, can we talk real estate, and can I be your trusted source? Even if they're realtors, it's a different area for referrals. If they're a banker, it's a referral relationship, right? So again, the world is your oyster when it comes to your database. So it's 12 p.m. Pacific time every single Monday is my particular call. It's just like this. It's a 30-minute shot in the arm for the week of what's going on in the real estate space. And it's open to everybody. It's broker agnostic. So it's just there to help you. I kind of go off the rails for 10 or 15 minutes with inspiration, what I see is going on in the market that week. And then I try to open up for Q&A I usually don't come preloaded with topics, and it's not structured like that. It's a coaching call. Come in and tell me, and I'll ask you if for instance, Paige goes, "Hey, Randy, I can't, no matter what I do, I can't make these calls happen. My calendar's this and that." I go, "Hey, Paige, do I have permission to coach you live right now?" And if they give it to me, then they get it, right? They get live coaching, just like if they're paying me $1,500 a month to coach them. So it's pretty powerful. Any other questions? Any kind of things I could help you with today? And I'll be nice to you. I'm not gonna beat you up here. I'll be nice, because this is for you. This is not for me. I've heard myself talk. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys and add some nuggets to your businesses. And I brought a couple things I think are fundamental, but think about the power of doing the discipline of this every single day. When you leave this call, think about the one thing. Ask yourself honestly, how many hours a day or a week am I actively prospecting? Because if you're not doing that, you're in reactionary mode. And if you're in reactionary mode in your real estate business, I promise you, your financials look like this. They look like a mountaintop in a valley all the way through your business.
Yeah.
Maria.
Okay, so I've been in real estate for about 4 years, and I have managed to get myself on the local board, the state board.
Good for you.
I'm doing mentoring. And I found that all those things, though, I really love them. I'm involved in a women's group. I'm now the president of the foundation. We do a lot of philanthropic work. We're looking at doing stuff for human trafficking. But I'm finding that I am not doing the prospecting like I should be. I mean, I do some, but I feel distracted by all this. This is in some ways the shiny pennies or whatever. I mean, if you're going to be all in your real estate business, you really need to, in some ways, exclude all that stuff, sort of. I mean, how do you do it? How do you, here it is. This is the time of morning you should be prospecting, right?
Absolutely.
And you're on a coaching call with us. I mean,
well, I'm actually, truth be told, I'm in a 2-hour live prospecting group as we speak. And I jumped out of it to do this because I committed to it, right? So I honor my commitments first and foremost. That's my calendar. My calendar allows me freedom, right? Discipline allows freedom.
yeah.
So I'm here because I committed to George. I committed to Lori. I'm here supporting you, but I'm missing out on 45 minutes of my prospecting time, where, by the way, I have 20 people live prospecting right now that I was coaching, and we're doing it together. So I've got to add that. If you displace it, you got to replace it in your calendar, right? So I have a minimum standard of 10 hours a week in my business, right? So first of all, may I have permission to coach you? And it's
absolutely.
If you want to take this off the call, I'm
I'm
willing to do so, but you're asking me publicly, so I'm willing to coach you publicly.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you.
Okay, because I think, thank you for that vulnerability, because it's probably going to help other people.
Yeah.
So number one, you're 100% right. It is a shiny penny. The reason that we do it, and I'm speaking from my experience as well. I was president of this, president of that, chair of this, board of this, blah, blah, blah. I've been it all and done it all.
Yeah.
I did it for a little bit of ego back then, but I also did it to be able to tell my coaching or my buyers and sellers that, hey, I'm on the board of realtors.
Yeah.
I'm actually the chair of this. I was the chair of the Economic Development Commission in Windsor. I was the president of the board of the Builders Exchange, the largest one. And it was all bragging rights and certificates, but they don't distract from it unless they're overtaking your calendar. Your calendar, it looks like this. And this is my style, and then we'll end it with this. When you look at your calendar, I look at it like a 4-lane highway of my business, and then there's an exit lane. And I think George has heard me say this before. My diamond lane is my prospecting daily. That's the highest return on my value. It's the dollar producing activity, or income producing activity. I like to call it IPA. It sounds better. It's a beer. So IPA is your income producing activity. That has to be in the diamond lane. So that's 2 hours a day. That's 10 hours a week out of 40 hours. You got 4 lanes. Now the next lane may be servicing buyers and sellers. It might be all that stuff, but you have that second lane, which is your fast lane that's required. And if you're doing your diamond lane stuff, the fast lane is going to be busy. It might even take you 15 hours to do it in that particular lane. So now you're between 20 and 25 hours a week of disciplined activity in your real estate business, regardless of what's happening over in the truck lane. And now the third lane in your business might be things you like to do in real estate. It might be these things that contribute and add value, right? But we're talking about a business highway for 40 hours a week. We're not talking about, well, I want to give back to children. That's your personal thing. It could be related in the business, but you still only have a limited number of hours every week.
Yeah.
And then so that third lane becomes maybe some of these other things. And then the fourth lane is the things you need to get off the freeway. If you're doing 12 deals a year and you're your own TC, that's a thing you can get off the freeway and leverage very easily. But it may need to be on the freeway in the beginning because of sweat equity, right? But then you could check equity it off the freeway and give more capacity to these other lanes.
Yeah.
How do you think a person with 1,000 transactions with the same 40-hour work week and the same 4 lanes does it?
They need help.
It's the same way. It's calendar management. It's tough questions along the way, but to answer your question specifically, yes, you're a little over-involved. You've got a little bit too many shiny pennies, and it sounds and feels good when people want you to do it. And I'm reading the book for the second time called Essentialism, and it's the art of saying no. I've said it 3 times today, including one of somebody I completely love that goes, please, 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 would you please do this for me today? And I said, I cannot. My calendar's out at least a week and a half. This would mean the world to me. I'm sorry, but and I don't want to be mean. I didn't say this to her, but lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part.
That's what my husband says.
It's a great statement, right?
Your emergency isn't my emergency.
So again, I had one of my agents miss one of the best trainings I've done in years yesterday. She's like, you don't understand. I had an escrow that was falling apart. I go, don't care. Escrows fall apart. That's part of our business. If you're time blocked correctly, your buyer or seller can wait. I used to tell my staff, when I'm prospecting, if you smell smoke, don't bother me. If you see flames, you can knock on my door. If you hear water running, don't knock on my door. If you see water and your feet are wet, knock on my door. That's how I defined emergency to my team, because their emergencies were different than my emergencies. All right. So I'm begging you to look at your calendar, wipe everything off at first, right? If you got hard appointments, keep them there, but get all the stuff that you think's necessary off your calendar, and then put in the diamond lane first, which is your daily prospecting. I think it's 2 hours a day minimum. If you're like struggling and you don't know if you're going to stay in the real estate business, 3 hours minimum period. I'll argue with you till the cows come home. And then you got to fill in the rest of your week.
I really thank you for that. And I actually think that I waste a lot of time just looking at Facebook, or I'm slow to
Squirrel, shiny objects.
I think I can.
We're no different. I'm human. I'm human just like you.
Prospect. Yeah.
I'm human. But when I'm prospecting, like on this call, have you seen me look at my phone and be distracted? No. Same thing in prospecting. I shut my notifications off. I put on do not disturb. I treat it serious. It's a business. Matter of fact, my time now bills out a lot, right? I bill out in the $1,000 an hour range now. So if I get distracted and I go, oh man, it's TikTok. And then I start scrolling and I go, holy shit, is it dark outside? That just cost me thousands of dollars to get out of my element and into another. So I'm cautious of that. Okay. Lots of tools you could do. You could put reminders like every hour just to road check yourself, kind of a checkpoint. How'd I do over the last hour? And really get micro about fixing your elements of what's distracting you along the way. Get on do not disturb, shut your notifications off on your phone. These things are not needed. But as realtors, we're free. We're free to do whatever we want to. All right. There's really no boss telling us what to do. We're entrepreneurs. And that's a blessing and a curse. All right. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks if you're watching live. Make sure you send me this. I'd like to listen to myself. No kidding. We'll get it out to the people and promote your call. But I appreciate you guys and ladies very much. Have an amazing day. And anything I could do to help in the future, just let me know.
Thank you so
much,
much, Randy.
Thanks so much, everybody.